Okay, where do I even start with this? I can't stand up and say I'm an expert in all things comics. Far from it. My experience in the art ranges from collecting the Beano as a child, UK people will know exactly what I mean, to various Marvel and Tintin comics, usually in big thick books. The closest thing I had to the topic of this video, that, isn't the topic of this video, was once again large books containing a whole load of cartoon strips, usually the Bruins or Peanuts, because most newspapers were about as alien to me as a child as they are to me as an adult too. And don't get me wrong, I love the other comics that I've read. Peanuts is great, even if I do think it goes a bit too far in the mean-spirited direction. Who knows, maybe the Peanuts superfans will be running to tell me that it's supposed to be that way. The movie's great too. But when it comes to comic strips, there's one that stands head and shoulders above the rest, at least in my opinion. And if you've seen the title, it's not like it's any particular mystery to you. It's Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes. Created by the American in 1985, the cartoon strip, if you don't know, and if you really don't know, I'm going to A, wholly respect you for still being on this video, and B, tell you to check the links in the description to check out the comic for yourself for free. Trust me, do it. And follows our imaginative, spiky blonde protagonist Calvin, who is 6 years old but, let's be honest, doesn't really act like it. His best friend Hobbes, a tiger who may or may not be imaginary, it's pretty left open to interpretation. A variety of very fun side characters, and the adventures they get up to. It lasted for 10 years before, by the decision of its maker, ending with a very heartfelt finale which we will get to in good time. What is important right now is the fact that it actually ended. It's a much maligned feeling to kick while it's down, but Garfield is just too good an opportunity to not make an opposite example with. You don't really think of the titular character as an actual character, do you? More like a generator of bad merchandise and even worse memes. It's almost weird to think how it started from pretty much the exact same spot as Calvin and Hobbes or Peanuts, but Garfield is not a respected brand character-wise or even comedy-wise, and I think it's okay with that. Ending Calvin and Hobbes, as much as I and many others may wish that it hadn't, did spare it from the same fate, and in my opinion, helped cast it into comic legend, nay, media in general legend. Well, than everything else, of course. As I said, no comic expert, so I don't know the first thing about what the most important part of a cartoon might be. But, the actual artwork seems like a pretty bloody important aspect, and Watterson's is no doubt spectacular. His designs are a little odd, especially Calvin himself with that big triangle mouth he so often sports, but undeniably distinctive. And when he has access to that full colour spectrum and those big Sunday pages, they're truly legitimately beautiful with the colours and the lack thereof sometimes. Being able to portray the heat of summer, the cool breeze of autumn, the chill and frost of winter, and what does spring have? The rain of spring, let's go with that. But that's not where his expertise lies. Where Watterson in his comic excels the most is expression and movement. Look at these examples, you can feel them shooting down the hill like the wind's in your face, or the sound of scurrying feet and so much more. There's a weight to these characters that helps make the slapstick humour hit so hard and so well, even without the benefit of movement nor sound. As for the expression, well, there's plenty extreme examples, far more than I could fit for this part of me rambling, and of course they're all absolutely incredible. But even the less ultra exaggerated faces are a treat for the eyes, and make this all so rereadable outside of everything else. All of these can just make you laugh, or feel awful, a part of this comic which we'll get to soon enough, on their own without any support from the writing, which is also awesome. There is a main reason that this series, small as it is, has such a colossal audience and spans across such an age range. And that is, as you might be able to tell from the title and subtitle so far, the amazingly smart, amazingly stupid writing. It's just such a variety. I can't put into words well enough that the same series that contains this is also the same one that contains this. And it's also the same one that contains this. It's remarkable that the same comic strip that can be analysed in massive amounts of detail, and not like the ones you'll have seen in your English class at school for poems, it's pretty legitimate in the philosophy that's used, to the point where Calvin and Hobbes are both named after real-life philosophers. Can also be read by me and so many others as a preschooler, and adored so much. And I'm not here to philosophize. Is that a word, philosophize? Actually it is. There's a wide variety of writing and videos out there if you're interested in that side, and I don't blame you. I had to look over a few while writing the script, and you don't need to be a philosophy student to see that this series goes over a lot of ground that you wouldn't necessarily be putting in a young children's bookshelf, usually. It's definitely true that back when I was a little un, I really liked, these kind of strips a whole lot more than I liked, say, these kind of strips. Hell, I didn't really understand what was going on half the time. But you know what? Because I didn't, I went and I found out, through parents or books or whatever they like. Who says content for kids can't be smart? It helps them learn, even if it's comically above their level. Just make it good, make it fun, and they'll enjoy it anyway. But, okay, I'm just here to gush about one of my favourite series in all of media of all time. I'm not trying to go too in-depth in it, not this time anyway. And yes, that's high praise, and yes, it deserves it mightily. I really substantially believe this was one of, if not the singular biggest thing that inspired me throughout my younger years. It helped mould me into the fella I am today. It made me laugh my lungs out, which is still great, and that part single-handedly got me into it in the first place, of course. But it also made me think. Hell, it made me cry. It's such a bizarre mix of stuff that's probably too symbolic and complex for children to really get, but with such brilliant writing and artwork that they don't really care, and plants those seeds of potential understanding for later. It's amazing. So there you have it. This might have been a bit more of a ramble than usual, but I really needed to get my love of this funny little 10-year comic strip out there. I have so much respect for the ever-elusive Mr. Watterson, and while I don't think it would have been impossible to adapt Calvin and Hobbes to another medium, again, just look at the Peanuts movie. It would definitely have been mighty difficult, and I wouldn't trust any major studio to do it. The moral of the story, besides the fact that nothing matters or everything matters, either go read this series or go reread this series. Either way, you'll have an amazing time.